guys, and welcome back to the ViceCityGamerz podcast. Just a couple of guys from the Miami area coming together to talk everything gaming. And today we got some interesting news going on. The Xbox podcast aired a little bit earlier today with a lot of information that we've all been waiting for because it's a long story and we're going to go back into it. Before doing that, I just wanted to ask you guys feeling good? You guys feeling good after
Yeah,
that podcast? I know
I
there's a
feel
little bit of
great,
controversy, a
man.
little bit of weirdness, but we're feeling good, right?
All those people that were burning Xboxes and selling them, there's your answer, buddy. Bunch of freaking fair weather fans.
Shit, I
Yeah, man.
burned mine yesterday. It's premature.
Let's
Fuck.
see if we can fix it. Change the capacitors out. We should be good.
Come over to a real fan's house and play on my Xbox.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
man, I appreciate that, bro. I might have to buy a new one.
I didn't burn. I
Nice.
didn't burn mine.
He's going to play his 360 back there.
You see? That's why I brought it
Hell
out.
yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know what all went down, I wanted to kind of take you back just a little bit. Not going to take too much time on this. Microsoft acquired Bethesda now a while ago. I think that's been about 2 years now. And Bethesda, makers of Skyrim and Fallout and a few other games that were just cross-platform for everybody. And they acquired it because Xbox is trying to grow their brand. And so they made that purchase. And they also purchased Activision Blizzard King, a deal that closed this past summer. So all these purchases were made, and they're trying to just grow and just bring in more games and bring in more people to Game Pass, their membership. So going back to last year, we had Redfall that released. It was a Bethesda game. It came out exclusively for Game Pass. So that would be the Xbox and any PC people that have the membership. That game came out in May, and just about 3 days after the game came out, with flaws that it had things like the enemies wouldn't react to you. There wasn't any story. Instead of playing like a little video to explain what's going on in the story, they would have these images and it would read out the story to you. It just felt like an undercooked game. And a lot of it was, I think, because Xbox gave them the freedom to just work on the game themselves. And hey, listen, we're hands off. You do your thing. And I don't know what the situation was, but just the game came out undercooked. So a couple of days after that, Phil Spencer felt the need to come out and address these things. He went out on the Xbox podcast, which we're going to fast forward to in a bit about what happened today. So going to this on the podcast that he did last time, he made a couple of statements that ever since then, I feel like there's been a weird tone with Xbox, a little bit of uncertainty. And you guys have told me that Xbox has a communication issue. Xbox has a communication issue, but it looks like starting today, maybe they're trying to repair that. Because I feel like that podcast that happened today was very informative, straight to the point. They gave their intentions. So, but just to go over a couple of things that were said last year to really put this into context and, even show the growth a little bit. Phil Spencer said, it's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console shares shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in Xbox One. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution, or that isn't really a great solution for us. And then Phil said that Xbox would be focusing its energies on Game Pass, xCloud, and ensuring that its games work seamlessly across all devices. So something could be read into that, but
All
clearly,
devices that Game Pass is on.
yes,
Right.
exactly. Thank you. So he says, I see a lot of pundits out there that want to go back to a time when we all had cartridges and discs, and every new generation was a clean slate, and you could switch the whole console share, and that's just not what we're in today. There is no world where Starfield is an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's just not going to happen. And ever since I heard that, I felt like, and call me Nostradamus, whatever. I've guessed a couple things right, but I have felt like what he's trying to get at, what they're trying to get at, is we're not getting rid of the Xbox. The Xbox is going to be around, but there's more of a shift to the quality of the games, right? Because the games is what attract people to these services. And when somebody's sitting there and they have to choose, am I going to buy a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Nintendo? They look at the games, they look at what is ahead of them, and then they make their decision. And I feel like Xbox is trying to surround themselves with those games and focus on the games and not worry so much about the consoles, right? Because they're behind right now, and it's not realistic to think that you could bounce back like that. And when he talks about the older generations and stuff, he's right. I mean, when you went from Super Nintendo to N64, you're starting fresh. It's now the X64 versus the PS1 or whatever. And, you know, it is starting from a clean slate. So now looking back at what he said, it's making a lot more sense. And we'll get into why that is. But fast forward a little bit more to September, Starfield releases, big game, huge game. A lot of fans very happy with it, sunk hundreds of hours into it. Um, you know, playing out the vision of Todd Howard, where he wants people to live in that game for an extended period of time, put hundreds of hours into it. But of course, PlayStation people, Nintendo people were not able to buy this, so they're making the money that they're making off of Game Pass, and then that's it. You know, kind of painting the picture that there's more money to be made to be able to sustain these things, to be able to make more games like this. So things moved along. The Activision Blizzard acquisition that we mentioned was $68.5 billion. Huge financial gap there because now you're going to have to work back to make that money. Now, fast forward to January, this last month, Xbox announced and showed off 4 exclusives that really catapulted them forward, showing that they're going to become a real competitor with PlayStation and Nintendo. And then now, from the new podcast, we're hearing that there might be even more announcements in the summer, more games coming, which is phenomenal. So now, the reason I want to kind of bring all this is because something happened shortly after that. It seems like either they're rumors or leaks or something where we know that um, Hi-Fi Rush was dropping their own little Easter eggs that they were coming to PlayStation and Sony. No big deal. Everybody looked at it and said, okay, you know, makes sense. And then I don't know where it came from that Sea of Thieves was going to be coming over. And all of a sudden, the snowball started rolling, and people are saying Starfield and this, that, and the other. We don't know where all this is coming from. And
Fanboys.
obviously, yeah. So obviously, Xbox fans, some of them have this worry that, oh, if you're going to take all these games and put them just on everything, then why even have an Xbox? And it's a very good question, you know. I've said it before. I believe that in the future it's going to be all about the games and it's all going to be on the cloud and everything, but the internet is just not quite there yet. You know, it's the speeds are not quite there yet. You need your consoles and you need Xbox because not everybody has a PC. I mean, you know, I don't know what the percentage is, but not everybody has a PC. You need a console for them to play these games on. Before we get into what happened today with the podcast, do you guys want to mention anything about this? I know you guys had on our last episode, we had definitely some good points, some strong feelings about this. Anything before we get into the podcast itself?
I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just
So
want to
basically,
say,
oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Chris.
No, you go,
I
you
fucking
go.
called it, dude. Tired of this shit. But we only get this. Xbox is the only fucking side that gets this shit. This is what I'm talking about. Perfect fanboy trigger shit that sets everything off. It's like a snowball effect. It's always downhill with Microsoft, doom and gloom, the world's end. And look, today that shit happened, and guess what? The asteroid's probably gonna hit in a couple days, yo. We're still gonna be alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Well, Xbox lives on. That's all I'm gonna say for now. Fuck all that negative
Yeah,
shit.
right. Yeah, all them fanboys that
Sorry I got so
complain
passionate.
and they were up in arms about Xbox not having a console anymore, giving out all exclusives to PlayStation and Nintendo. Man, it's not happening, man. Come on. I mean, like I said last episode, I wouldn't object to a few games going over there, right? So certain games, but it's not going anywhere. And Xbox console is going to be here for another 5 6 years. I think the hardware is going to be here. It's not going to just disappear. If anything, I'm thinking that maybe Xbox should do like a whole PC console system kind of thing with, it comes with your controller, but you can also have a choice to have a keyboard and mouse with it. That'd be cool. That'll be an option.
I like it. Innovation. They better
You
not
can
steal
do
that
that
from me,
right
bro.
now.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could do that right now. But like I'm saying, if you're gonna ship a console, like ship a PC console style, and then just include either. Yeah, yes, you have a choice to buy it with this or with that. Those are your choices. If you like it or not. If you prefer controller, and if you prefer keyboard and mouse, you get keyboard and mouse. And then since they're looking at having Game Pass on Xbox and PC, makes perfect sense, right?
Innovation. I
Yeah.
like it. I like it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So as we know, we watched the podcast today. Luckily, it was not very long. I was worried that it was going to go super long, but it was only like 22 minutes long. And right off the bat, really the only in the beginning of it is where they got to the meat and potatoes of it, which is good because they didn't bury the lead. They
Mm-hmm.
just got straight to the point. And they did
Right.
mention that 4 games are coming, but none of it's not going to be Starfield or Indiana Jones. They didn't want to say which
Right.
ones they are, but I think everybody's saying the exact same four
I think we all
games.
know.
But
Pretty
I
good
thought
idea.
they were saying games that they haven't developed yet. Was that they were saying, or already games that already been developed already?
It's already been developed. That they
Already been
already
developed. Okay.
ran their life on Xbox.
Gotcha. I missed
So
that part.
now they're
Okay.
trying to give it a new life on other platforms with crossplay and all
Nah,
of that, which only benefits
I got
everybody.
too excited. No, what I was saying, I think I got too excited when they announced the March 28th release of a game that we'll get into it, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody yet.
Was that not like the most surprising part that it was only 22 minutes long?
Yes, I was
Yeah, I thought.
very pleasantly surprised to see that. I was like, I got shit to do, and I look and I see 22 minutes. I'm like, thank God. I just sat there in the parking lot after work and just sat there and listened to it. It was perfect. Straight to the point, man. All
Yeah,
stuff and no
I agree.
fluff. Don't be wasting people's time. Don't be buttering things up too much. I mean, they got a little buttery towards the end, but it's fine. That's, you're talking to
Yeah.
your people. You don't do that very often. Take your time to do it. But the 4 games
Right.
that we're speculating is, I mean, we know Hi-Fi Rush is going to be one of them. Sea of Thieves
Right.
did turn out to be one of them, so those two are factual. We know that. And then now people are saying Penitence, right? Anybody know what the heck that
Pentiment.
is?
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
Penitence.
watched some game. I watched some gameplay today, and I didn't look. That wasn't nothing for me. It didn't look like
Okay.
it wasn't my
it's
type of
kind
game.
of like I don't want to speak out of mouth, but it takes place long ago in like the
Like medieval stuff,
nah, kind of like the Leonardo da Vinci era type shit, and
like
you're like
Renaissance. In other
solving
words,
murders
yeah.
and yeah, Renaissance. That's a good word. Perfect word. It's around that time. So it was highly acclaimed, man. It's very good reviews.
Really? No,
So yeah, yeah. It's just the art
yeah. I
style
might.
is a little iffy.
The one that I'm actually excited for is the one that we haven't mentioned yet, Grounded. It's kind of like a Honey I Shrunk the Kids. You're tiny, you're walking through the grass, the bugs are
Mm,
big, and it's like I think it's like a 4-player online co-op kind of thing.
yeah,
And ever
yeah,
since I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
that, I thought that looked really cool. So maybe one that I mean I think that's already out on Game Pass, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
see if we can play that in the future. I think it looks really cool. I like the Honey I Shrunk the Kid kind of aesthetic there. Pretty cool. So Starfield's not coming. Indiana Jones is not coming. You know, we'll never know if they were supposed to, and they said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 things are popping off. We need to pull that back." Or if it was never part of the plan to begin with, and everybody just freaked out.
Right.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
Those
I
are
mean,
higher up stuff that we'll never have
Think
access
about
but
to.
the phrase that they put is that these games were never really meant to be console exclusive. And so
Mm,
what happened when they first bought Bethesda? They purchased them and they were already en route to making these games. You know what I'm saying? So it makes
right.
sense that that shit was gonna be multi-platform. It was created to be multi-plat. It's just that they got acquired. So
Yeah.
what you try to use that to your advantage, right? Hey, look, this is gonna be console exclusive at least for a little bit because now you're
right.
acquired. But I guess once the life ran on these games, you try to get some more like a second win. See
Yeah.
see if anything sticks.
I'm a firm
Pretty
believer
smart.
that probably this year, September, maybe December. Don't be surprised. I think Starfield will be on the menu. I wouldn't be surprised once it runs its life. maybe the popularity starts to kind of fizzle a little bit when it comes to people on Game Pass playing it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that too. I feel like, and especially because we also have to talk about what the CEO of Sony tweeted, or not, he didn't tweet it. Somebody translated a statement that he gave. We'll have to get into that as well.
Yeah, the
But
interview.
yeah, and bro, I'm telling you, I, and I'm glad that our videos live on forever because I've said it, bro. At the end of the day, it's not going to be about consoles. It's going to be about companies owning different intellectual properties, like your Mario, your Zeldas, or whatever. And if they're willing to make extra money by putting it on other consoles, simple as that. I can
Right.
see a game coming out, it says PS5 along the top, big old stamp on it, Xbox Studios or whatever they want to call it, and that's it. Everybody makes their money,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you just buy the games that you want to play, and that's it. I'll play it on whatever console you want, and
Mm.
that's it.
I gotta push
So,
back though. I
mhm,
don't think it's gonna
talk to
be
me.
on Starfield.
No.
Starfield is not gonna be one of those games. Look at the uproar that just happened this last week with
People lost their
all of
mind.
this dumb crap that everybody's losing their mind. I told you I had these little childish instincts myself, but you look into it, like it's all rumors and speculation.
Mm.
Starfield was gonna get bought by Sony, like exclusive rights. They tried to
Oh yeah.
burn Xbox with it. You're not gonna give that back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And after this
Right.
interview, I'm a firm believer they're not gonna give that back because they were talking about the longevity of Xbox, and they want the next 10 years to be even better and more stable and solid. And I don't think that Starfield would be in those plans. It's only going to get better from this, and more people over time are going to want to play a more complete version of it. Bethesda
mm.
is like it has some type of nostalgia over people. Skyrim has been like one of the most purchased games over the last decade, and they just keep re-releasing it. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
I think Starfield is going to have that same effect. It's going to draw some more people down the line. Yeah, but if PlayStation tried to burn you with it, I don't think you just give it back to them. And they
Okay.
said
The other
no
bit
to
of
this
news
and
today.
no to Indiana Jones. So
Oh, sorry.
Right.
I'm pretty sure they're not gonna go back that quick.
Yeah, they said that. So they said that it's going to continue being that all the Xbox exclusives are going to be day one on Game Pass. So for
Still, yeah.
anybody who had any doubts about that, which of course the rumor mill started spinning, everybody was saying all sorts of claims, and one of them was that, oh, it's just not going to be like that. They can't afford to put it on Game Pass every day. Well, $3 trillion company, they could definitely afford to do whatever the hell they want, but
Right.
for now, that will remain the same. So. I wouldn't be surprised if the monthly
Yes,
payment
sir.
goes up though, at least by a couple bucks. I think it'll be a solid
It
20
will
bucks.
eventually.
Yeah, I think it'll be a solid 20 bucks for the one that covers everything, and then PC will probably be 12 bucks. I'm assuming. So something that stuck out to me that Phil Spencer mentioned, what he said, over the next 5 to 10 years, exclusives will be a smaller part of gaming. It'll be basically a shrinking part of gaming. And I love that idea because, yeah, everybody's going to have their exclusives and stuff, but I feel like it's going to be, for better or worse, it's going to be something like a Netflix Hulu kind of situation.
Hmm.
Of course, Xbox will be the Netflix because they're the first ones on scene, the ones making all the acquisitions, and then maybe Sony will be like the bootleg Hulu.
Blockbuster.
But yeah.
The bootleg. When he said that, I kind of feel like he largely means those games as a service. Because look at all the big games that are out that are multi-platform. That I feel like he was alluding to Minecraft, Fortnite.
Mm.
Those type of games. I kind of think he means like first party games as a service will kind of
Mm.
be the multi-plat area that they're going for. And it's not going to be all the games because they'll still have Halos and the Gears and those type of thing, the Hellblades. But games as a service is what I kind of felt like he was talking about.
Yeah, I think you could rest assured that Halo and Gears is not coming to anything else, which is good. It's good.
For
At least
sure.
they heard everybody. They know that that's not, you can't go there. He mentioned games that are over a year old. So these four games that we are getting are all going to be a year old. So there's a line in the sand there that you're not going to be having your fresh, brand new games and the whole 6 months, 3 months is not going to be a thing. Clearly, that's what they're going to be doing. If it's going to come to other consoles, it's going to be after a year. And he mentions that this extra revenue that they're going to be getting from putting these games on other consoles is going to be money that they're going to use to reinvest into themselves and into the future of those older games as well, sequels and money coming into those studios so they can keep making those games that we love. And what I thought was just another little tidbit that just really shows you. He says this has been our strategy for years to grow Xbox. And I think there's something there. I think that this has been the plan for a long time. I think that they already had an idea about it. They may not have communicated it. Maybe they didn't feel like it was necessary, or maybe they didn't think that we'd get it, I guess. But now that they kind of were in a position where they had to come out and say it, um, I feel like they kind of put a lot of the fears to rest, and I feel like they know what they're doing because they've been doing it for a while. It's one of those things that it's not something that the fans have to worry about. It's their business model.
We
Yeah.
also got another little bit of good news too, though. Did you hear from Activision? Right, we getting our first Activision title, right? To
Yes.
come in the Game
Tell us,
Pass.
Chris, what's it gonna
Oh
be?
yeah, Diablo 4, ladies and gents. First Activision title
Diablo.
coming to Xbox Game Pass on March 28th. So get ready. Get ready. It's gonna be a fun one. Haven't played it yet.
You gonna jump in?
Yeah, of course I'm gonna jump in. It's on Game Pass. I gotta support Activision. Let's do it.
Of course he's gonna jump in. It's a game. He's gonna play it.
It's a game.
Um, he's gonna add it to one of the 20 games he's currently playing right now. I don't know how Chris does it. He's like an octopus, just playing all these games at the same time.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, you're not lying, man. He was an octopus in his last life.
Yeah, I know, bro. I play so many damn games. Hey, but I keep them. I keep all the stories up here, so I remember every single one of them. I don't forget.
Yeah,
I want to
it's
see you
amazing
finish.
how you do it.
I want to see
I
where you're at with God of War. I know you asked about
no,
something, and
I don't know what the hell's up with that
bro,
squirrel.
that was listen. That caught me off guard completely. But you know what? We're in a multiverse kind of situation, and there's a lot of
Right.
weird people coming to the table. But what's interesting is I saw a video not too long ago that talks about the lore about a bunch of different characters, and
Mm-hmm.
he's in the like the
Norse
actual
God lore.
mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta look
So,
into it.
interesting. Well, once when you complete the game, we'll talk about a little bit more about that.
I was like, what the hell is Rocket
There's some
Raccoon
interesting
doing at
stuff.
freaking on God of War?
Came out of nowhere, man, but he's
Yeah, I
gonna
know.
put his foot down when the time comes. It's important stuff.
I was waiting for Groot to come
Yeah,
out.
so so Diablo 4, man. Diablo 4 coming to Game Pass. That should be a good one. Hopefully, we'll see more things from Activision Blizzard because they sure have a lot of things
Oh yeah.
that they could bring up out of nowhere to get people excited.
Right.
We got one. It's a recent game. Some people have already played it. Some people might already own it, but hey, for anybody who hasn't, it's an exciting time
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Get to save some money right there.
Yes, sir.
And speaking of Game Pass, they mentioned that they have 34 million members right now. And this is the first time that we've heard a number other than 25 million. 25 million has gone back and forth for years at this point since I guess we talk a lot about the memberships kind of plateauing, and it's hard to bring new people in, maybe when the internet gets better, so the X Cloud is a little bit more functional where the people can play all sorts of different games, and maybe they won't need a console, and you'll have people that weren't going to buy an Xbox anyways that could still join Game Pass and get those members. But 34 million, that's a pretty good jump, man. That's a pretty good number.
I feel like they're being conservative with them numbers.
Mm.
Like to me, they're not selling consoles, right? And consoles don't really make you that much money. Accessories do, which I know, like the design labs fucking kill it. But Game Pass has been their platform, and Game Pass now overtook Office. Office is on every fucking or Windows. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's the most profitable part of Microsoft at this point. At this moment, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And where is that money coming from, man? Game Pass.
Not much.
So I feel like they're being a little conservative with these numbers because to me it doesn't add up. Everybody was talking about this whole week the doom and gloom and Game Pass is not sustainable and this and that. Where they getting all this money from?
Now here's
You know what I'm
here's
saying?
here's my question to you though: Is this like these 34 millions including core pass players or just Game Pass?
That is a good
Oh,
question.
that's a good question.
That's a good question because when they first got rid of Xbox Gold and switched it over to Core, they it's Game Pass Core. So if you have that same thing you already had and you're paying the same amount, you don't want to commit to full on Game Pass,
Mm,
they did something similar to PlayStation Plus. If you became a member of PlayStation Plus at all, you get like the 10 most popular PlayStation games ever included for free. So
right,
Core did something similar. They have here's a huge list of games. It's not the same as if you have full on Game Pass, but
right.
here's a bunch of games, but it's core Game Pass. So that, and I know that I said that at one point, that's going to boost the numbers for sure because you're adding in people that were kind of already there, but now you're putting it into the Game Pass number. So
Right.
that's business stuff. They're
Right.
doing whatever they're going to do. But yeah, 34 million times, let's average it out, $15 a month that they're
I
getting.
think $17 a month now,
It
right?
is a lot of money.
They're doing
It's a, I don't know how
16.99 and PC is $10.
yeah, so averaging it out, we don't know how much, what percentage PC is of it, but and we also don't know how much money it takes to run these businesses now,
Mm,
because now you have all these different studios. You're talking about sustaining the servers, sustaining these games, and then
right.
paying to make new games. It's a lot of money.
Right.
But that's it's Microsoft, man. They'll
Think
figure it
about
out.
this. I just did the math, right? If we're going for the both PC, which I told you that I think they're being conservative, at $17 a month, 30, 34 million,
Mm-hmm.
35
That's what they
million.
said. She said 34.
What?
34.
34?
34
Yeah,
million Game Pass members.
34 million. Let's just say at 9.99. Let's go for the lower tier. Every single month they're racking in 339,660,000 a month at the lowest tier.
That's one exclusive right there.
Imagine
That's
that.
one exclusive right there.
Yeah.
That's one exclusive game.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
16.99 times 34 mil.
Yeah. That's one exclusive.
That's 577,660,000. That's over half a billion. I mean, half a million. No, half a billion.
Yeah.
Half a billion. Yeah.
That's over half a billion in 1 month. Dude,
Yeah.
they ain't going
Well,
nowhere.
yeah. No, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think they're going to keep it going. If not, they wouldn't have said what they said today. But yeah, it's the cost of doing business, man. Still laid people
Yes.
off though, even with all that money coming in. Laid 2,000
Yeah.
Especially with
people
the new
off. It's a
the new
damn
I
console
wish.
shame.
development, right? They also says new console development that's gonna blow our minds, and the technology is gonna be out of this world. That's what they said today, in layman's terms.
I have no doubt, man. Xbox is the best place to play.
They said a significantly
Got pimp set over
technological
here.
leap. The next console is going to be.
I feel
And they
like it
said
always is in one
Yeah,
aspect
well,
or next.
Xbox is always 10 years ahead of everybody else, and then when everybody comes up with the stuff, then all the consoles get the props, and Microsoft's like, oh, hey, we came up with this like 10 years ago, but it didn't take off. But now it takes off.
It's kind of like
That's
an
okay.
Android phone versus iPhone, right?
Well, the Android is the other way around. The iPhone gets rid of the earphone jack, and then Android goes, haha, that you're so dumb. Look, we still have it. And then a year later, nobody cares, and then they say, all right, we'll take it off. And then they're like, oh, look, if your
Yeah,
battery goes
but
bad, we could take it out. iPhones, you can't. It's stuck in there. And then the next year, we're like, all right, we got built-in batteries too. They're just riding the coattails.
yeah, in some sense, but a lot of their software stuff, like features that they've had on the phone, already were there for years, and then Apple comes out with it. Oh, it's the best thing ever,
Samsung.
Apple.
Hey, but Apple never caught fire.
Oh,
Yeah, it did. Oh no, yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Apple didn't. Yeah,
No, Apple
yeah,
never
they didn't
caught fire.
explode. You
Nope.
know what it is, man? I mean, we're not here to talk about cell phones, but I mean, what we're talking about it is when it comes out on Apple, it's ready and it's done and it's not
Yeah.
broken and it
Right.
works and it doesn't crash when
I
update
agree.
get done, and you don't have to side load content. Oh, I could download all sorts of weird little apps and stuff. I don't want to. I
No.
just my phone does everything I want,
Right.
Mind you, for anybody who gives a shit, we all have iPhones here.
Yeah, we do.
I know because your bubbles are blue.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes,
We don't
sir.
have time for that crap.
100%.
We just lost all the Android followers, all three of
Damn.
them.
Oh well, go home to your cricket service.
Yep.
Now we only have 49 subscribers
Damn.
instead of 50.
Yeah. Damn, lost one. So Game Pass is not coming to Switch either. That whole
Nope.
thing about partnership and this and that, it would be so great and so perfect. Yeah, it's not coming to Switch. And day one exclusives will continue. We already talked about that.
You think that's a forever thing?
I
So
think
here's the thing. Go ahead, Chris. Hit it.
I think not a forever thing. I think in the next maybe 4 or 5 years, when all consoles, including Xbox and PlayStation, get away from the whole console thing, because it's gonna be 5 years, I think, at least, before both of these companies stop making consoles, and it goes straight into like a PC style kind of like handhelds or whatever streaming service. That eventually, that I think once all those
It's
consoles
getting
go
old, man.
away, that Xbox will bring Game Pass to multiple consoles eventually. Not in the next 4 to 5 years, I think, though. I think in the next 5 to 6 years, maybe.
Damn, they're gonna be in a new generation after
Yeah.
that. And Nintendo's about to join us on Gen 9
Finally, right?
later this year, if the rumors are correct.
Oh,
So that's already gonna whip
oof.
into a new generation. So in 4 or 5 years from now, they're still gonna be in Gen 9 while PlayStation and Xbox move to Gen 10
Hmm.
already. If the rumors are correct.
Right.
So you think the Super Switch or Switch 2 is gonna have Game Pass
I think
at some point?
in the next 5 6 years, I think probably most likely, if Microsoft wants
Wow.
to make more money, that's the way to do it. Especially with with all these systems now, like they said that Game Pass is going to stay on console and on PC, right? So now we have the Rogue Ally, we have the Lenovo system, right? That this Steam Deck, right? Is Steam Deck play with Game Pass? I'm not sure. I never had one.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Steam
so
Deck.
you have
Yeah,
all
yeah.
those PC style decks that play all these games, and of course now Game Pass being available on PC, I don't see in the next 5 years why not. Why wouldn't it be available on PlayStation or Nintendo, but
The
not before that.
the only reason I think, and you could be right, you could be completely hit it on the head. The only reason I doubt it is because I understand that when you buy certain games on the the eShop, and on PlayStation when you buy through PlayStation, there's like a percentage that goes to them, even if the game is not one of their own games.
Mm,
So some of the argument that I heard about why Game Pass probably wouldn't come to PlayStation, and I assume the argument's probably similar with Switch, is that a lot of those games that are sitting on the store that cost 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 40 bucks, whatever, are then all of a sudden a lot of them are going to become obsolete because if you get Game Pass, then they're not going to make money off of those. And Game Pass is probably going to pay them a couple dollars, if anything, per person. So they might lose money by having that on there.
mm,
So Nintendo, I know, is also very territorial. I don't know if they would, maybe they would, but I mean, we talked about these backdoor dealings and everything like that, but they didn't say anything about that. As a matter of fact, they were clear to say that it's not going to be coming out of their consoles.
mm.
So I don't know, but like you said, 5 6 years, things can change a whole lot. The landscape can completely change. But I think, man, maybe there'll be one more generation, maybe. Um, no, I think definitely there'll be one more generation because we're only talking about 4 or 5 years into the future. It's crazy that we're already like halfway through this generation. Not with Nintendo, but with Xbox and PlayStation. So there could be one more, but by that point, I think the internet will get to the speeds that we need, and all of a sudden you're gonna see everybody playing on their phones, playing
Right.
on low end handhelds. Like Logitech put out a handheld little gaming console thing, but without the internet, it's a paperweight. It doesn't. handle anything on board. So some people hacked it, and you could play like Super Nintendo and stuff like that, but that takes nothing. So without the internet, it doesn't work. So it's almost like if they were thinking of the future, but they got here too early. Maybe in 5 years that'll be popular, but right now you could put the Nvidia stuff and Game Pass on it, but without internet, you're stuck. So you got to be tethered to the internet. You're riding a train or something like that. If there's no Wi-Fi on it, you're shit out of luck. But hey, we see how fast things could happen, man. Anything is possible.
I was very surprised they
Never
didn't
say never.
mention anything about any handhelds like coming to Xbox. I think they're waiting till for June to announce that.
Yeah, they wouldn't answer
I mean,
that in a
at least
business
mention it,
update, man.
But
I think that's very early on.
yeah,
That image that we saw
hmm
was horrific.
no,
That
well,
is
just
not
it was a rumor, right?
that image was, yeah, it was a concept made by somebody. They took the PlayStation Portal and they put Xbox controllers on, and they put it. That was something that somebody made on Photoshop or something like
Mm.
that. So I think personally, the handheld, it'll come out maybe way down the line. PlayStation and Xbox will come out with one. They'll probably be using the same
Maybe they'll
chips.
announce it in June.
It'll probably have a
Well, this is
dock.
why I'm a firm believer that consoles are not gonna die, and I'm not saying anytime soon. I'm saying ever. Consoles
Man,
are not gonna
I
die.
hope not. I enjoy
They
mine.
always gonna have a hub, a central hub for them to play. For gamers that want to be the most comfortable, gaming on a PC is a lot of work. It's a lot of
Yeah,
work,
you're not
and
kidding.
not everybody has PCs that cost thousands of dollars. That's like a terrible entry point.
Mm.
You're talking about all the population in the world. I mean, shit, just a few years ago, I was cheap. There's no way I could have had all three consoles. So if you can't even afford an extra console, most likely you're not going to be able to afford a PC. I think that it's synonymous with the brand, and I think that they're going to maybe Sony gets out of the hardware business eventually,
So why
maybe,
gotta be
but
Sony,
I don't.
bro?
Because
Man,
Nintendo
Sony,
is never gonna leave the hardware business.
Sony ain't
Nintendo
got shit
won't.
going
Yeah.
on.
Nintendo will never leave the hardware
Nah,
business.
Wow, bro.
They might they'll go
nah.
digital, but
Nintendo,
they'll go digital before
Nintendo
this.
stays
Yeah,
innovating, bro.
but Nintendo will stay digital before
Nintendo
they go to
stays
the hardware
innovating.
business.
Yeah, I honestly think if anybody's leaving the hardware business, it's gonna be Sony in a few years. Maybe
Why?
one
What
one
makes you think
more,
that?
because they have the best chance, in my opinion, to be a software company like Sega.
Mm.
Everybody loves their games.
Hmm.
They're the best at making games. The first player story
Right.
driven, you know, they have Sony Pictures behind it. Like it's that level of
Mm.
production. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima. I'm like, God
Yeah, no,
damn, this thing is awesome.
bro.
In all
Yeah.
aspects, man. The story, the gameplay, the character, like the way he builds
The
himself.
way it moves and
And from what you guys tell me,
oh,
God of
God of War is
War,
amazing. I ain't
The
gonna lie.
Last of Us.
Oh, Jesus,
So
I can't wait.
I think that if anybody had a chance to get like to make real money in software, it's Sony. And I think they'd probably be the ones to conform to that shit eventually. But in terms of Game Pass being on either PlayStation or Nintendo, I don't think it's ever going
You
to
don't think
happen.
so?
I think it
Yeah.
would eat into their like they have such a strong foothold in this place. I mean, I think Xbox is in a position right now to do some real damage and gain some traction with all of this Game Pass being everywhere. But who knows what the damage did this last week that people were burning. I don't know how many people they lost or whatever for
Man, they
this
were fake
rumors
fans
or
anyway,
whatever.
so let
But
them go over there to PlayStation.
you think that Sony been anti-consumer for years, man. They've been doing their own thing. They're in their own a league of their own, just making it. Like flourishing, not even like barely scraping by.
Yes.
Why would they give that
Yeah,
up
well, especially they have some great
for a
first place.
standard like 30%? Because I guess with the whole Apple Epic lawsuit, a lot of that came out that they get 30%,
Oof.
if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
The article I read. So everything that they sell, Apple gets 30%. So it's kind of like the standard. So say that
Right.
for 30%, you're gonna lose people just coming to your system to buy. I mean, you're gonna give Xbox that much more of a hold on you to gain traction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
got thousands of games on Game Pass. Why would you that would eat up time of them playing your Mario or your Zelda or your Mario Kart or your Smash Bros. To me it doesn't make sense.
Oh.
And Sony's been trying to kill Microsoft and Nintendo for the last, I don't know, 20 years.
Yeah.
So what makes you think that they're going to have them go on the
Tell,
I don't know. To me it doesn't
tell
make sense.
Microsoft is not Sega.
Now you got all of these computer companies making handhelds and other places to play.
I think that's the future,
Perfect
man.
place for
That's
Game
definitely the
Pass.
future right there as
Yeah.
well. It's gonna,
But you know what's going to happen if the Super Switch comes out, whether it's powerful or not, that's just going to destroy any handheld like the Ally in sales,
yeah, well, yeah,
you know?
well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because and you know
because
what? You don't have to
Nintendo,
make any alterations. You don't have to make any
Because
adjustments
they
on
have
resolution.
their
right?
Yeah.
own ecosystem. Everybody comes for those games, you know?
The
Plug and
nostalgia, like we
play.
said last
So it
episode.
wouldn't make
Yeah,
sense.
people who are
Yeah.
Nintendo fans since they were kids. We were Genesis fan before, But before I was a Genesis fan, I was a Nintendo fan. It makes sense if I want,
Yeah.
I'll buy one for sure. Just to see if they actually put Zelda in a take Zelda out of the 32-bit genre kind of thing and put it, more up to date.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
See?
I think what's going to happen is like these games that come out and keep getting developed like a Hi-Fi Rush, it's a perfect place to put that one game
Yeah.
on a Nintendo platform, you know?
True.
Those games that make sense, like Ori and the Blind Forest, those platformer games, man, that shit's perfect. Why not on a game by game basis, like he said before, take the chance and put them out there? But I don't see Game Pass going.
Speaking of, I know, BJ, you said earlier about how PlayStation's got the best games. You heard it here. So, but
First, he said
Sarah
like
Bond said
Well,
like
something.
story games, story driven games.
yeah, story
Yeah, yeah,
driven, like one
yeah.
God of
player,
War, Ghost of Tsushima.
but nothing
So,
compares to Halo, man. There's no fun
true.
games like this on your platform.
Oh, Helldivers
Multiplayer
pretty
wise,
good.
no.
So,
Capital
so
One.
Sarah Bond
What's
said
in your
something that
work?
kind of caught me. I read people for a living, and I caught something, and I had to rewind it a couple of times. So she says, when you're playing on Xbox, you know you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. And she paused for a second, and then she kept talking, and I was like, the biggest games are always going to be, and I'm like, you mean some of the biggest games are always going to be? That's what you should have said. But when she paused for a second, I was like, you just lied. But that's just my professional opinion.
Maybe she got some
But
insight
Yeah,
that,
she will spit it
The
out.
Last of Us is coming to Game Pass.
What?
that could be it.
Ah,
Spider Man's coming to Game
That could be
Pass
it.
to
That
help.
one, that one's probably the most likely to go. I feel like I could see Spider-Man going to other consoles at some point.
they should
So,
have done that to begin with. Maybe timed exclusive, but don't lock down Spider Man, bro.
mhm.
Spider Man, man.
Spider Man.
My boy Excelsior put that out there for the world.
Mm-hmm.
They can make a killing if they're smart.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, well, they put it on
Oh,
PC and it's going nuts. Like, I don't know if where I wrote the numbers down on this, but Spider-Man 2 sold I think 10 million before I don't think it's on PC yet. So just off of just off of PS5s in only 2.5 months, 10 million copies. I think it passed God of War in the same time frame. I think God of War made 15 million in a
Wow.
year. So the game is popular.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now
of
PC
course.
is eventually going to get it. They're making bank money hand over fist on that.
Yeah, both of
They
them
could
putting
even
games
pay
on PC.
Daddy Nintendo. Yeah, they could pay Disney whatever they're asking
Yeah,
for
fucking
and
jerks.
still make bank. So your overlords said one more thing. They talked about crossplay, backwards
What do you mean by
compatibility.
overlord? You mean the one and only, the
Papa
chosen
Phil.
one, Phil Spencer? That guy?
Oh God,
The
it's
true Spartan?
all
biggest
right.
D in the game.
So you got Papa Phil Spencer,
The chosen
Sarah
one.
Bond, Mom, and the other guy is Uncle who was this dude's name?
Fester.
Uncle Fester. So they talked about crossplay, backwards compatibility, and I think those things and cross save, and I think those things are huge
Yeah.
because at one time Nintendo talked about this too. They asked them, "What are you doing about game preservation?" And their response was, "Well, you have your Nintendo account now." And I think it's pretty interesting. Ever since the previous generation up until now, you buy these games, you buy them. Eventually, if they see fit, they can take them away. But you're you're basically acquiring these games and you're building up your library. And I think it's common sense that this should be included, but I'm happy to hear that they're putting such an importance on it where if you're playing on your Xbox and you jump on your ROG Ally, your saves are going to be there, your progression is going to be there. You could just pick up and play from wherever you're playing before. And I think that's huge. I think that's very important. And I'm glad to hear that they're putting emphasis on it because that means the other two should start putting emphasis on it as well, hopefully. But yeah, I was happy to hear that. And last but not least on this whole thing,
Who's doing that for you, Jay?
well, hold on. In Sony's defense, they've had saves roll over forever. I didn't play The Witcher for like 6 or 7 years. I bought the new one and I was able to update the PS4 saves to PS5 saves. Final Fantasy VII is actually the remake is actually the first one that I saw do that, where if you started playing the game on PS4, you could convert the files to PS5 versions and
Yeah.
basically import them into the game. And what's really cool is even though Final Fantasy Remake and then Rebirth are technically different games, even though they're a part of one game, this is the first time that I see that technically you're taking your saves from one video game and moving it to another video game where you start this new game and you don't have to start from scratch anymore. You can have all the materia and all the weapons you had from before and all the summons and all this work that you put into the previous game will
Carries
pass
over.
to the new one. So very well done, and I hope that's the future of things. But the saves is something that yeah, PlayStation has had. The backwards compatibility PS1, PS2, yes. PS4, yes. PS3 is where the problem is. The console, even regular emulation for that console is still not perfect. That's why, and I'm going off topic here, but my little project that I'm working on right now is I'm grabbing a 1 terabyte hard drive for my PS3 and I'm dumping all my games onto the drive so that I can run everything off the drive, which has to do with a little bit of custom firmware installation and stuff like that. But if we want to talk about that, we can talk about that in another episode. But yeah, it's gonna be cool to have a PS3 that without even putting a disc in it, you could play your whole freaking library on. Exciting stuff, totally unrelated.
Yeah,
Don't mind my retro
that's very
ass.
true. Nah, that's really dope, though. Really dope.
I'll talk about it further
Yes,
one
sir.
at one point.
And
But you know what? I'm not gonna omit the controversy about the PlayStation. So recently, Sony president Hiroki Totoki said he wants to go aggressive on improving margins and grow first party with multi-platform. This is translated by Google from Japanese to English. So if anything sounds weird, that's why. So he
I
says in
need
the
a little more
past,
umph.
a little more
Hey,
umph.
Rocky! Chichoki.
I don't want to get canceled. We just started. Oh, what am I supposed to say? Oh, in case I didn't pronounce that correctly, I apologize. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's what everybody says, right? So, hey, we're young.
Correct
It doesn't matter
pronouns
what we
over
do.
here, man.
Oh, my apologies.
Jesus Christ.
That's the
So,
head of Sony right there, man. Have some respect.
Put that on
oh,
your chest, man.
he's just another human, man. I don't pray to him like you guys do. You can do no wrong, my lord.
Yes, Phil
So in the
Spencer
past,
Almighty, chosen one,
yeah.
the godfather of gaming.
So in the past, we wanted to popularize consoles, and the first party title's main purpose was to make the console popular. Very interesting that the games were to make the console popular. Interesting ideology, but that's kind of how it was back then.
But that's how
So
it's
he
always
says it
been,
They
is
though.
mentioned
true.
that. They mentioned that in this
Mhm.
podcast.
But
I want to say Phil said that
but
to have the
Yeah,
games grow stronger
yeah.
and then
But
expand.
I think that has always been like like certain games make your console stronger. Like Mario makes Nintendo Switch stronger. Like God of War will make PlayStation stronger. And Gears of War will
yeah.
make Xbox stronger, right? So it's
But what
always
Yeah.
he's saying
that's
is
kind of
it's
known.
kind of lends itself to the Yeah, it lends itself to the direction that we've actually been going, where the future is the games and less focus on the
The console.
vehicle, which is the console. But the quote goes on to say, it is true, but there is a synergy to it. So if you have strong first party content, not only will our consoles, but also other platforms like computers, first party can be grown with multi platform, and that can help operating profit to improve so that in another one we want to proactively work on. Again, sorry for the translation. He says, I
It's like a
personally think
Bluetooth
that
for your
there.
games. I'll leave it, man. This is rated for kids.
But yeah, basically what he's saying here is that yeah, to become more profitable, to be able to fund these games, you got to put it on other platforms. There's only so long that you can keep it on your own and make enough money. You know, games are getting more expensive to make, and while some people are crying about $70 games, look at ads from the 90s of these video games. There were $80 video games, like NBA Jam and stuff, like $80 game. Why? I don't know, but just the prices were all over the place. If you consider inflation, games should cost $250 right now, but they don't.
Don't put
I
that out
played
there, bro.
Witcher 3.
Don't put that out
I'm
there.
just I'm just saying. I'm just
Come
saying,
on.
like, if they want to make more money by putting in other things on
No,
other
no.
consoles, guess what? I'm not losing my mind about it. If all of a sudden PlayStation is going to put certain games, even if it was something in between those four games that they're going to bring to, I guess, the other platforms and the better games, bro, I'm good with that. Like, it's
I'm
not
up.
that serious,
You're
bro.
good with paying 250
And
for
if
a
other
game?
people get to experience it, yeah, and that's what and again, I really do think that they're putting a lot more focus. I mean, he said it right there on the games themselves and not worrying so much about the consoles. I do think it's kind of funny that that comes out like right before this podcast comes out in a week where there's been so much talk about the future of these different consoles and what the heck's going to happen and everything. So it's almost like probably Sony was already thinking about this, was already like, man, we want to do it, but what if people start talking trash, or what if our clients start losing their minds? And then once they saw all this stuff happening, they were like, oh, they're doing it too. Oh, fuck it, we're all doing it, except for Nintendo, of course.
Of course.
But yeah, it's there's nothing wrong with taking these games. Maybe not like your golden eggs or whatever. Maybe keep those for a while and eventually put them out there. But there's nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with putting these games on PC and some of them even on Xbox and maybe the Switch too if it can handle it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should be on a game by game basis for everybody, all the parties involved. It'd be smart. Things that aren't tied down like a Zelda, right? Because
Because,
I assume Zelda would sell
yeah, but
consoles.
Zelda would never leave Nintendo. Nintendo would never
Bro,
allow it.
Right.
imagine if they did
Yeah,
that.
but Nintendo
If
won't
they
allow it.
branched it off so that, yeah, they
No,
won't. They
Nintendo won't
won't.
allow it. You got a better chance of
But
getting
yeah, man.
Ghost of Tsushima on Xbox than getting Zelda anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
agree.
you know what? I think and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think if they were to put Zelda or Mario on anything other than a Nintendo, it'll almost take away from it, where I think the
Yeah,
game won't be as exciting anymore. And I know it sounds kind of silly. Like, what do you mean? If I could play it on other things, it would be more exciting. But I feel like there's like a barrier of entry. Like, if you're going to play these games, it's got to be through a
on Nintendo.
Nintendo
Yeah,
system. And I feel like even young people these days have a nostalgia with Nintendo because it's been around since their whole lives. So now it's like if you were to put it on something else, it's almost like I feel like that would be the one where people start being like, all right, well, I mean, you still need the handheld. I could see the Switch never being unpopular, but I don't know. It just feels
But
weird. It feels wrong.
think about it though. 100% it'll feel weird. Zelda's been like one of the biggest franchises Nintendo has. Underneath Mario and maybe Mario Kart or something. But
40
imagine
years.
what.
wow,
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Jesus Christ.
Imagine what Turn 10 Studios can do with a Zelda. Do y'all know the new Fable? Did y'all see the trailer
Not yet.
that came out?
When?
Just the
It
one
it came
of the
out
giant.
like last
Oh,
year or
okay, okay,
something
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
that,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
and they showed like gameplay in there. Is in engine. I'm sorry, in engine, right?
Mhm.
imagine what that studios can do with a Zelda with those kind of graphics and that fidelity. Like that would
That'll be
change
crazy.
everything. That shit
It'll
would
be
sell on
amazing.
all platforms. You know,
Mhm.
Yes,
hundred
sir.
percent.
All right.
Speaking of
Especially
Zelda,
if it
this is
coincides with a Netflix and shit.
oh yeah, that'll blow
With a
up. I mean,
Netflix series.
The Mario Wonder was the biggest selling Mario, like, or I think it was the fastest selling Mario. But if it wasn't for the movie, it probably wouldn't have been, you know. So
Yeah.
it's definitely the correlation there between things like that to get you hype, and then oh yeah, by the way, here comes a new Zelda game or whatever. So I think it's interesting stuff. Something kind of unrelated, but my retro self, I have to tell you about this. So I people have taken Super Mario 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time and basically decompiled the game. And I'm probably using the wrong terminology, but they have taken the game apart to be able to add in features from next generation consoles and stuff, or actual powerful consoles to kind of put back into the game. So you can go on and play Super Mario 64 in 4K, 120 frames, and with ray tracing, you know, the realistic lighting with new textures and everything to the point that it looks and feels like a whole brand new freaking game. And it's really ridiculous how cool it looks. And I got
What?
really excited. Yeah, and I got really excited to find out that they took Zelda Ocarina of Time and did the same thing. So now the way you play these is you're basically downloading, you know, you have to use an emulator and play the game on the emulator. And now you run other programs that take all these mods and everything and plug them in. And now you're playing like this game on crack. And what's cool is there have been times where I've had my ROG Ally and I'm like, man, I hope I made the right decision. I don't know if I, but here I am streaming off of it, editing video off of it, playing games on it. And now I could play these cool ass things that I wouldn't be able to do on a regular console. So I mean, it's not, you know, it's not on a Nintendo console, but it's good times to be had.
But boy, that was worth the money.
Hell yeah,
That
I
was
gotta
worth
say.
the money. Think about that. You got a powerful ass computer as a handheld, and you saved, I don't know, 2/3 of the price in getting a powerful gaming PC.
Oh yeah,
Sounds like a win.
Yes,
hell yeah, and I
sir.
can take it with me everywhere. I was playing Mass Effect today in the car, waiting to pick up the wife from work.
My
So
man.
yeah, running like smooth, man, like butter. 120 frames, looking good. Shepard looking with them crazy eyes. It looks so good. Every
I
time he
love
does
it,
it, I'm
yo.
just like, yeah, man. So what do you think?
Are
You guys
you
got
going
anything else? Huh?
Paragon or Renegade?
Bro, I'm just getting into that now, but I'm a little bit of a completionist, so I'm doing all the little side quests before I start those missions. Like I have those missions, but
Got you.
I'm trying to finish two more missions. So because I always get afraid that I'm going to cross a line where I'll lose missions. Like, oh, you can't do those anymore. I don't know if that happens here. It happens in some games, but I'm like, all right, let me do all the side quests and then do that. So
It does.
let's see
You
what
do miss.
happens.
I think we were pretty spot on
Yes, sir.
our predictions last episode, and all of this
Yeah,
craziness for no reason. So let me get a little more into detail from my opening statement.
send it.
I told you guys every time the Xbox is doing great, some rumor comes out.
To
I'm
debunk
telling
everything,
you,
to try to screw everything up.
and the media's hyper disappointing, man.
Oh yeah.
Cause what? Oh man, look at they're doing this. This doesn't make any sense. Blah blah blah. Feeding off of speculation now, but it's the end of the world, and Xbox is all of a sudden not doing too good. It's like too much mixed messaging going around, man. You're either doing so good. Oh, Xbox is doing great. Look at the presentations they're giving. You know, Game Pass is sustainable, and then rumors like this come out. Oh, Game Pass not sustainable. Oh, this is. Oh, they're not even gonna be in the console business soon. Oh, this and that.
Phil
And I'm
Spencer
like,
is going to be fired.
dude, it only happens. It only fucking happens to Microsoft and Xbox. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Just look around. Uh, this guy is saying now PlayStation exclusives are gonna go to PC, right?
Mm.
And they're gonna be day and date soon. Like,
Where's the outrage there?
And nobody
why
cares.
is there no
Yeah,
why is there no backlash?
yeah, there's no
from it?
outrage, right?
No.
Oh, go burn your PlayStation
Nah.
5 console. Oh,
It's like with the
PlayStation's done.
Xbox, everybody's like,
PlayStation's done.
yeah, with the Xbox, everybody attacks them, and then when the PlayStation doesn't, they're like, so brave,
It's so brave.
so brave.
They're so inventive. They're so smart. What's the word? What's the word? Like
Innovative?
They're so innovative. Oh, bravo! They come and bring games to PC.
Yeah.
Microsoft's been doing
It's
it
just
for
something
how
about
long
the
now?
way Sony does it.
Yeah, the way
It's
I
crazy.
don't know.
they put out a rumor out there. Sony puts out a rumor out there about Xbox, lets it blow up, and then they come out and and bring their stuff out. That's exactly what they do.
Why you gotta be Sony?
Hey,
Listen,
Chris is right. 100% right. Sony gets this information because the fucking game is coming to their platform, and then they're just, put that out. Hey, this just happened. Microsoft gonna give up all their exclusives, and then that shit just runs rampant throughout the biz. Everybody starts talking about it.
Yeah.
Like Chris said last time, they're burning
LeBron James
like
jerseys.
LeBron James jerseys, and like what is going on, dude? What is going on? And look, at the end of the day,
competition.
they said that they're trying to breed Xbox and make it the best place to play for the next 10 years.
Yes, sir.
And now they have the opportunity with all of these acquisitions and all of this money that they've dumped into it. I have my full trust in this fucking box. This is where I want to be. I don't think that they're going to... Remember we were saying last episode, I think that they would be stupid to just... Xbox is doing great right now. They have the potential to be, the sky's the limit. And then they're just going to turn back and turn face.
They're fighting.
And you got all these big outlets like IGN and my favorite, Last Stand Media. And like all of them are feeding into this crap.
I mean, yeah, right.
And it's like, bro, what is going on, bro? Microsoft is so smart. What's up, Chris?
I say Xbox is not at that point where they've been trying to get to for years. Why piss it all the way now? No way, it makes no sense.
Yeah, now fuck it.
Yeah.
No, Master
I feel
Chief
like a lot of these
PlayStation,
guys,
no?
I hate to say it, but a lot of these people, I mean, we don't have a ton of followers and subs and all that stuff because I don't want to do clickbait. I don't want to trick people to click to come over here and to look at what we're doing. I'd rather just be genuine and honest and grow organically or don't grow at all. And we're here having fun and doing our thing because putting out like you said, feeding into that, people that you respect are all of a sudden feeding into this stuff. It's surprising that a lot of the news sources would regurgitate something where they don't know if the sources are good or not because their reputation goes to shit. And that's the problem with media as a whole. But when a lot of these people on the podcast and their own YouTube channels and stuff are taking these things and running with it, I mean, you could speculate, I guess. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't come from a source, you have to be clear and say, these are things that could happen. And you have to be very clear that it's coming from nowhere or name your sources. This is what I heard from this group that say that they're hearing it from whatever. And you got to be legit, man.
When Wario says something on Twitter, that's it. He's been right about so many things, blah, 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 blah. Jesus Christ.
He's our version of
Jose. Gotta stop, man.
He's our version of Jose.
He's got to stop.
He's our Jose, Nostradamus.
Yep.
Been right about a few things here and there.
You have. No, I'll give you to that. Yeah, Nostradamus. I'll give it to you.
No, but you bring
kind
a
of
good
look
point
like Jesus
somehow.
with no hair.
Jesus Cristo.
It's all slicked back. Yeah, it's all slicked back.
And a ponytail. Modern.
Yeah, man. But it's interesting because it's interesting that you mentioned not knowing where it came from because again, the Wario 64 guy is the guy that when he says it, it happens, and that's it. So the fact that it was said and it didn't happen is obviously one of two things. Either it was supposed to happen and they pulled back on it. We'll never know. And then the second thing is it was bad information being given by somebody who wanted to sabotage things. Maybe it was Sony. Maybe Sony people. It could be.
Sony.
It could very well be.
Still trying to murder
Jim Ryan
him,
out there doing this guy trying to do PlayStation's work.
What's Jim Ryan coming and start working for
Yeah.
Microsoft?
Oh shit! Imagine that. Damn,
They
damn,
kicked me
You
out,
wish,
man. I
maybe
give
he'll
you all
teach you
the
guys.
secrets.
Then you could say that. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the consoles are gone.
Let me show you how to be a successful console.
Oh, I wonder if that would work.
I
I'm
mean,
not
he walked
sure.
out of there,
It,
mic drop. He's like, "Look what I just did." So,
Ghost
I
of
mean,
Tsushima
hey,
coming to PlayStation.
it
I don't know. I just feel like it's all one way. I'm glad.
sounds
I'm
good.
glad my console still
Yes, sir.
exists.
Yeah,
And
I'm
and
glad
and
competition will continue, and it's good for everybody, dude. We've said that 100 times.
and Phil Spencer's not leaving,
Yeah.
right? That was a speculation. Oh, Phil Spencer's going to leave Microsoft.
No, I think it was like
There's still
if
time.
things go bad. Yeah, if things were to go in a direction that he did not agree with, he could walk away. And if things were to crash and burn, it could make him walk away. But future looks bright. Competition is good.
Hmm.
So let's see what comes.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, we covered a lot here. There's a lot of controversy was going on. We worked through it. We're here. We're through the tunnel, and we're going on to the future now, where hopefully it consists of the big three competing against each other: Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. And it's good for everybody. When these people fight against each other, it just makes for innovation. So here we are, Chris throwing up the set. All right, guys, if you like what you
Shout out
heard,
to
you
the
know
hot
what to
dog
do.
cart.
Give it a like, give it a sub. Go ahead and hit us up in the comments if you agree or disagree with whatever, and we'll fight down there if you want. So take care, everybody.
Good
Peace.
night.
See you on the next
Good
one.
night.
Hot dog cart. Peace.